In time of upheaval will come a transformation. Ignite a fire that will burn like a fire. Come on,
Hello there. How are you today?
Hello?
Hi, this is Greta. How are you today?
Hey, my name is Yerlin. I'm doing fine. What about you?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's nice to meet you, Yerilyn.
Nice to meet you. So, I'm one of the peer advocates for the Sexual Assault Center in Alexandria, Virginia.
Oh, excellent.
And
Glad to have
thank
you.
you. I'm excited.
Well, if y'all don't mind, I see Miss Griffith or Mr. K. Griffith, correct? Well, I see we have somebody else that has joined as well. If it's okay with y'all, we'll wait a couple more minutes before we get started. I know some people are having some technical difficulties with, they haven't necessarily used Zoom before, so I want to give them a little time to get used to it, if that's okay with y'all.
That's fine. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, Colleen, how are you?
Hey Greta, how are you?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Is it just us in here?
No, we've got 4 of us so far, so.
Oh, okay. I'm not seeing anybody. This is the first time I've actually used this.
I think a lot of us are that way.
Oh, I'm trying to figure this out because this is the first time I've actually used my iPad to do this. So if I'm moving around, I'm trying to set up my little earbuds and everything. So y'all will have to overlook me. I'm sorry, I'm moving around.
It's okay.
So I'm trying to get it in here. And again, I apologize. I promise I will get set up in just a minute. There we go.
It's all good.
Okay.
I think there's several people that way. I have been a participant or have gone to events in Zoom, but I've never held one. So I have spent most of the day hoping that I've kind of got this down.
Okay. Well, I have been invited, but I wasn't for sure how they actually worked. So I've avoided it.
I can totally understand that.
Here we go. All right. Hello, everyone. I don't know if I can't see anybody except Greta.
Hi, this is Darlene.
Hi, Darlene.
Hey,
How are
Darlene.
you?
Yeah, I can't see anyone except a black screen.
Okay,
Oh.
let me.
I think if you stop.
Yeah, I see Greta.
I think if you stop sharing your screen, Greta, then we'll all be able to see each other.
All right, stop share. There
Okay,
we
yeah.
go. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, now I see somebody else.
This is Darlene.
Hi, yeah, I see somebody now. Hello.
Hello.
All right, does anybody have an issue, at least now we can modify it some when we start sharing stuff, but I was going to go ahead and live stream this on Facebook. If anybody prefers not to have their face out there, let me know. If you want to turn off the video or kind of move the camera so it's profile, darken the room, however you want to do it, I understand. I want to give you plenty of time to do that before I actually start the live stream.
I'm good with whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, excellent. How long have you been an advocate? You said North Carolina, correct?
Virginia.
Virginia, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm getting old. My memory isn't what it should be.
Okay.
So how long have you been doing that?
So for about let's say like since September, because in my school, I'm actually a senior, and there's this sexual assault center in Alexandria that was trying to hire like 5 peer advocates
Yes.
from the school. So instead of like hiring adults, they decided to hire us young people because some kids are afraid to tell adults. So we're here to help them, support them, guide them, and just give them any resource, anything. We provide workshops such as like healthy relationship workshops. We try to raise awareness for sexual assault, and it's kind of getting hard since everything is moved online now.
Mm-hmm.
My school has shut down for the remainder of the school year, but we're still trying to raise awareness and see how we can provide students online instead of in person.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe picking your brain later. That's some of the questions that we want to discuss later on in the event. So definitely be wanting to ask you about that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start the live stream. Hopefully I'm going to start the live stream.
Okay.
All right, I want to first go ahead and welcome everybody. I appreciate very much you being here, taking time out of your day to be here for the kickoff party. As y'all can probably see, my name is Greta McLean, and I think Darlene's still here.
I'm here.
Excellent. She is going to be the co-host for tonight. And I will be, I guess, your host, your guide, partner in activism, partner in crime, whatever you think may fit. But we're very excited to have you here today. And one of the things that has struck me, not only this year in preparing for this, but also just over the past couple of years since I've been involved in organizing and activism revolving around sexual assault, is that most survivors, most advocates, activists, they know about Sexual Assault Awareness Month, but they don't necessarily know the origins. And to be honest, I didn't either. So being the nerd that I am, I decided to kind of look it up because I enjoy history and stuff like that. So did some research, and a lot of the information really kind of surprised me. I knew it wasn't necessarily new, but I didn't know how far back it went. And it actually started back around the same time as the civil rights movement began. And one of the biggest champions and fiercest advocates for sexual assault survivors back then was a lady named Rosa Parks, who I know we've all heard of. But long before she was known for, refusing to give up her seat on the bus, she was advocating for sexual assault survivors. She was a community organizer. She organized her neighbors and citizens in the community to help protect African American women and girls against sexual assault. And then she also, in working with NAACP, was in charge of collecting testimonies from women and girls who had experienced sexual harassment or sexual assault in the workplace, in social settings, like if they went to restaurants, nightclubs, something like that. and also walking home, going to the store, things like that, just on the streets. And she already knew then how important the voices of sexual assault survivors were. So she really encouraged African American women to find their voice and to raise their voice and to let it speak out against sexual violence so that they could begin to hopefully raise awareness. And this is decades before Me Too movement. So, as much credit as I definitely want to give to everybody who helped launch the Me Too movement, she was really the pioneer in it because she was the one that really tried to get the ball going. And through her example, it continued to inspire a lot of other activists in the 70s. And in 1971, the first rape crisis center opened in San Francisco. And then the following year, and again, inspired by a lot of what she had done and was still speaking out about, a group of women from the University of Southern Florida marched through campus demanding that the university provide resources and better provide for the safety of women when they were walking on campus, especially at night. And then 6 years later came the first Take Back the Night event. And that continued, and I'm not going to bore you too much longer, I promise, continued with them deciding that, hey, we really need to make this a legislative thing as well, not just activists. So they started pressuring the elected officials for legislation, laws, and funding to help support sexual assault survivors, which eventually led to the passage of the Violence Against Women Act in 1994. That kept the ball rolling, and eventually in 2000, the National Sexual Violence Resource Center opened its doors and they launched the very first Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So took a little while to get there, but we finally got there, and we are now in the 19th year. And as I'm hoping some of y'all saw in the description, one of the things we wanted to do, taking a lead from National Sexual Violence Resource Center, was to try to be creative and talk about what Sexual Assault Awareness Month means to us and maybe some of the goals or some of the things that we want to see come out of the month. So I invited people, if they wanted to, they can either just say something or show a picture or something like that, whether it's a drawing or whatever, depicting how they felt. And so if I can bring it up, actually came up with a couple of things. Let me give this, whoop, go back one. Sorry about that, ladies. I came up with a photo. I'll get this to share. I apologize for really stinking at this. If y'all can see it, what I came up with was, you'll see the photo on the left, or hopefully you're seeing it. That is from last year's rally that we held for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And it was, it was two ladies who I met because of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and then afterwards when the Kavanaugh hearings were going. Very wonderful, powerful, strong young women, and we just kind of connected and have really been supportive of each other. So part of what Sexual Assault Awareness Month means to me is finding allies and support group, people that you know that you can turn to. And I found that in these ladies, and hopefully I've been able to be there for them as well. The other thing that it means to me is that we can hopefully begin to stop the violence. And to me, the best way to do that is by ending our silence. It's really hard to continue to follow the stereotypes, the myths, to cling to the misconceptions, if you can put a face to the story. And that's why I think, again, just me personally, that it's important that we provide a platform for people to be able to do that. Would you ladies like to share anything? If you don't, that's okay.
I'm okay, thank you.
Okay. I just don't want y'all to get tired of listening to me. Like I said, I think one of the things about this month is not only about awareness, but I think it's equally important that we're able to provide survivors with a platform to help with the healing process, not only to help others understand, but to help them through their process of healing. In my experience and in talking to other survivors, there's something very cathartic about not only uttering the words, but it's also empowering to actually hear yourself say what has happened to you. Say, I'm a survivor, this has happened, to tell your story. And it was very liberating for me to know that I had shed the guilt that so many of us feel, the embarrassment, and shame. And it helps you realize, or at least it did me, help me realize that those are emotions that weren't mine to own. Those, shame and guilt, that rests squarely on the shoulders of the perpetrator, not the victim. And it took me a while to learn that, but because of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, I was able to finally understand that. And I'm going to open it up because I know we've had a couple more people join us. Welcome. Glad to have you. We were just discussing what Sexual Assault Awareness Month means to us. Susan, would you like to share anything? If you don't, that's fine. We're not making anybody, but just wanted to give you the opportunity.
Can you hear me, Lynn?
Yes.
Okay. I think I just want to say I appreciate you. I appreciated, when the vigil took place on the Hill, maybe I said in my comments, that was the first time I had openly talked about that part of my past, and it was liberating. It felt good. It felt good to just say it. And I mean, yeah, it still can bring up emotions, but what I felt that night was no apology, no bad feeling. I just felt like this is part of who I am. It's helped to shape who I am as a human being. And maybe in some ways it's given me compassion for people who've been in those kinds of situations or something I might not have understood. So it has its value. I'm not saying it's good that these things happen by any means. I'm just saying we are who we are, and we have to love ourselves completely and love those parts of our past that are painful, I think.
All right.
I agree, and thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it, Susan. We had, for those of us in Tennessee understand, those outside of Tennessee may have heard it, but last year around this time and throughout the summer was a unique situation perhaps for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We currently still have a member of the state House of Representatives who is an admitted child molester. Our governor and House members have refused to do any investigation or try to expel him. So it's been an emotional struggle the last year. And we thought that he was going to step down. He said that he was not going to run again for re-election. And today, the first day of Assault Awareness Month, he decided to announce that he has changed his mind and he is filing his paperwork to run for re-election. So,
Greta, did you find that, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No.
did you find that that was calculated, that he announced that today, or did you find that that was just poor timing on his part, or how did you feel about that? I mean, and I'm asking because, like you said, this past summer was, I don't know if you personally know my story. I know yours. I don't know if you know my involvement in that whole saga.
I do not. No, ma'am.
Okay, I know yours, and
Yes.
and my heart goes out to you. But you know Bird's situation or his story with Senator Joey Hensley, their involvement. For you ladies that don't know me, I'm just going to take a brief moment. Sorry.
Take your time.
Leanne's law that just went into effect. I'm victim of Danny Hensley, Senator Joey Hensley's cousin, and Representative David Byrd helped get this bill passed. I reached out to Joey, Byrd, Glenn, all of them, and of course, this was in Tennessee, the holler and all this stuff. So, and I will be happy to send that to you, Greta. But they all knew. I reached out to Governor Lee, all of this, and saying that my attacker had 5 felonies. He attacked me. We're talking about an officer. And, you know, and he was a police officer who was claiming he was an advocate, who was, I mean, so, you know, it was out there. They all knew it, but they got up, they testified. The chief of police in Lewis County, who was also his pastor, and you know what I'm saying, they all knew this story, but they were all friends with Byrd, and they were all trying to do this, and yet they all knew that he was an admitted sexual predator as well. And then you have the chief of police who in Lewis County, after they passed this bill, they ask him to step down. They fire my attacker. I do get a guilty verdict against him, and I get a lifetime ban, which is the sexual center in Middle Tennessee helped me get that. He admits, they have him on a recording, that he threatened me with Brent Cooper, the Senator Joey Hensley, Representative Dave. He mentions all these names. That's why I wasn't trying to interrupt you there, but I just thought it's very interesting that an admitted sexual predator is running, and all of this came out. You know, it's almost like these men in power, they feel no shame. Yeah. And today he announced, and I didn't know how to take it at first, but I knew who you were, and I wanted to be here to give you my support, because And I've struggled with it all day. Just thought, how could he? Whether it was poor timing or was he just that calculating?
Personally, I mean, I don't. Let me preface this with saying I don't know for sure. I don't know what's in his mind. I don't know that I want to know what's in his mind, but it would not surprise me if he
Right.
announced today on purpose.
Yeah.
But I think that actually gives us, it has made me that much more determined to continue the fight. I mean, obviously this is something that is very near and dear to my heart for, a reason, but it just makes me, no matter how tired I get or whatever, go, you know what? What's sleep when, you can do something like this, you can meet new people, and hopefully learn and gain strength from them, and hopefully maybe y'all can learn and gain some strength from me. It just makes me want to do this even more.
Right.
Because
I have a really important comment, Greta, on this topic of David Byrd, which is that one of his survivors, one of the young women that he misused sexually when she was a teenager, and he was a teacher, a coach at her school, Christy Rice.
Amen.
She's running for that seat.
Is she?
He is.
Right now,
So
yes.
at her local grocery store,
Yes.
collecting signatures for her petition.
Excellent.
Which is tomorrow's the last day to file for folks who want to run for office. So we're not going to stop fighting. We're coming back much, much harder.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Virginia, if you want to bring your fellow people down here or join us online, we'd love the support. We don't mind having national support, heck, international support, calling them out. So we'll recruit you to join the fight, whether you want to or not.
I mean, I'm excited too.
Good. It's been a day, but again, I don't think any of us are the type of people who are going to let this get us down or discourage us. It's just going to energize us even more. And that's part of what this whole month is about, is survivors and advocates and activists coming together and drawing strength from each other and ideas from each other and doing what we need to do to get it done. So is there anybody else who wants to share anything? Please feel free. No? All right. What we're going to do now is I found again, like I was saying, a lot of what this month is about is helping to dispel stereotypes and myths and stuff. And when you put a face to it, it makes it easier maybe for people to accept the truth and not go with the wives' tales and stereotypes. And it helps us as survivors. And I found a couple months ago this video of a lady who I find just absolutely remarkable. And I wanted to share it with you because it's kind of an outside the box maybe idea as far as how to approach the topic with somebody. So I'm going to share this. It's about 12 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry, about 14 minutes. And then we'll come back and kind of discuss it and maybe do some brainstorming about different ways that we can engage people. You know, we all know about marches. We all know about you know, rallies and candlelight vigils, but we need, at least in my opinion, I think, and y'all correct me if you think I'm wrong, to come up with new and innovative ideas to keep people energized sometimes and to make new people want to join the movement. So play this and then we can kind of maybe have that discussion. So let me get back to share. And if you have any trouble hearing it, please let me know.
It was April last year. I was on an evening out with friends to celebrate one of our birthdays. We hadn't been together for a couple of weeks. It was a perfect evening as we were all reunited. At the end of the evening, I caught the last underground train back to the other side of London.
I'm having a lot of difficulty hearing her.
Okay. Let me see if I can. What? Oh. Well, I apologize. We're going to have to watch. There we go. Watch an ad. I've got it as loud as I can. Is anyone else also having trouble?
Yeah, I can't really hear it.
All right, hang on.
There's almost like an echo or some kind of feedback or something, you know, and it's just, it almost sounds like she's speaking a foreign language. So it's just hard to make out the words. I can hear her voice, but I.
That's behind me. It seems to have a bridge down nowhere. We're picking up things.
Any better?
No. I wonder if you could share the link and we could all mute ourselves and we can watch it individually yet together.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
An excellent idea. Let me get back, stop sharing, come back, and I know that there is, all right, Darlene, help me here. There's a way to type in here, correct? So that I can.
Yes, on your
chat.
If you press
Chat.
participants at the
Yep.
bottom, there's a chat button.
Does everybody see that? All right. I'm going to mute myself and listen to it and let y'all, and then when you are ready to come back, just let me know.
One of the great challenges in this world is knowing enough about a subject to think you're right.
To fly a rocket ship, you
But
need to be
not enough about the
Now I can hear someone sound really good right
You
now.
know
astronaut launches through space
Oh,
with their
wait a
fingers crossed. That's not
So-
how to deal with risk.
There's like a gazillion
Okay.
hours.
Oh,
of
no.
the-
Can you mute
How do I
everyone?
mute
Every
this?
case,
How do I
I'm
mute?
talking about the universe. Black
Ah.
hole.
When y'all are ready, just raise your hand. Is everyone finished with the video?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Her idea to, sorry about that.
Yes.
Okay. Her idea to start or to publish her, hang on. Are y'all getting that?
It's like echoing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Hopefully that'll stop it. To me, her deciding to publish that in the newspaper was somewhat out of the box. Most people probably aren't going to do that. Part of what I was hoping maybe we could discuss after watching that is other ways, like I said, that we could come up with ideas to bring more people into events, new messaging ideas to help us reach a broader audience. I know just in my situation here in Middle Tennessee with Silent No Longer, we found it difficult to draw a diverse number of people in. We're having a real hard time with African Americans and Hispanic Latino. And I want to be able to help, everybody. I think that's all of our goals. Has anybody, do y'all know of any ideas? Can you think of things that your organization has tried that has worked, things that haven't? I know y'all are very creative, so I know you got to have some ideas.
Well, what I thought was a good idea is that the sexual assault center in where I live gave other students a chance to even work with them or volunteer. And I just think it's a really good idea to let more, like there should be more youth lead people to discuss more about sexual assault and the awareness of it. So far, it's been really good with the school. We have created workshops in school about healthy relationships, non-healthy relationships, sexual assault, and then domestic violence. We try to bring those up as an after-school activity. And later, there is going to be a consent summit coming up in Virginia, where workshops will be held for the youth and the adults. And since we were planning to do it in a different school, the COVID-19 obviously it got canceled, but they're still trying to find a date where everyone can join in virtually. And I can also share more information about that if y'all want to join the consent summit. It's we haven't thought about
That sounds
the date
awesome.
yet, but I can let you know. And there would be speakers that would be speaking about these sort of topics, as well as LGBTQ and how they're affected as well. And yeah, it's been going great so far, and we are trying to work along the lines of how to educate others, especially in social media, since school, like almost all the schools are shut down. We want to be able to express how we feel about this issue, since it's not talked about a lot, especially with the younger people. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we should stick more to social media, just like what the girl said in the video. I think that should be like, we should not stop on talking about those certain issues. And yeah, that's about it. I could send more information. Let me see if I can find it. But maybe if you can, is it all right if I can send it to you like in public in the what's it called? The Facebook group, or?
Can't hear you, Greta. You're muted.
Sorry about that. Yes, you can post it in the Facebook group. That would be perfect.
Can I just say that a consent summit sounds freaking amazing?
Doesn't it though?
I love that. That is really powerful.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I like the idea, like you were talking about, doing more, and like she was talking about, doing more virtual stuff online, because there are times I felt that we kind of get bogged down because it's the same people planning basically the same event, just at a different time and a different place and maybe some different speakers. But to be able to get ideas, to have something online where we can get people from, across the state, across the country, or even across the world, I think would really help bring new, fresh ideas in. So I love your idea. That's awesome.
Yeah, what school are you at? Are you a Tennessee student? Are you in college?
Currently, I'm a senior at T.C. Williams High School.
What city is that?
This is in Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia.
Okay.
But
Alexandria,
yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, it's okay. I would encourage y'all to join, like, especially since anyone around like the country can join. It's gonna be a really awesome event, and I hope to see y'all there. I will post more information about it, and yeah.
That would be awesome. I love that idea. I really do. That's good. Now you were talking about people from other schools. What age range do y'all do this with? Is it just high school? Do you go into middle school?
Well, we try to educate others and support others throughout the whole community. Like, well, in Virginia, we were mainly focusing on in Northern Virginia, even though like anyone can join, but it was more focused in Northern Virginia. So we are still trying to get it more out there, and especially since like all Virginia, I'm not sure about Tennessee if they shut down school for the remainder of the school year, but yeah, we're definitely encouraging a lot of people to come, since there's going to be amazing speakers come joining in with us. And yeah, that we're focusing for this event. It's we will kind of be talking about general topics regarding sexual assault in LGBTQ. So it really doesn't matter what age are able to join. Anyone can join, because it's a topic that everyone should understand, listen more about it.
I agree. And I don't know about the others from Tennessee, but that may be something before the end of the school year, because our schools are closed as well. Maybe, I don't know who we would reach out to. I'd have to do some research, but work with some teachers, and maybe we could do something like that for teachers who are having to do the virtual classrooms, if maybe they would allow us to come in and speak. So I like that idea a lot.
And we are still working. Oh, my bad.
No.
We're still working about if students do join, there's like also volunteer hours that they can use for their high school volunteer. Because you know, some high schools you need a few you need volunteer hours to graduate, so you can use that as well. And we are also giving away like prizes if you take a survey. We're still holding meetings about it, but there's a consent summit meeting that you could probably join too if you would like to volunteer.
Could do that, yeah. Just whenever you get a chance, post the information on our Facebook page, and yeah, I'll pass it along. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any ideas?
If I can share, and I because I have to go make dinner. We late and we both
No
just
worries.
kind of finishing our day. That's why I came in late, because I was out yard working. And anyway, Nashville Peace and Justice. We are beginning to, Nashville Peace and Justice Center is the organization that I'm part of currently. I'm the current chair, and we are beginning to do online roundtables for a variety of events. This month, actually April 8th, we're going to do one, co-facilitate with Better Angels, which is a bipartisan group. And then one of our board members is LGBTQ and is coordinating a roundtable around that issue also. For May, I think that will be the next one we do. We do them about once a month. And this definitely would be something that I think would be really good for a roundtable. We usually do our roundtables in person, you know, at the Friends Meeting House in sort of North Nashville area. But because of the COVID situation, we're doing our first Zoom thing this month. So I don't know how long this will continue, but maybe that's something you and I can coordinate on as well. If we want to develop sort of an agenda and a purpose around, you know, supporting the candidate running against Byrd, or whatever kind of messaging we want to build around that, whatever kind of intention we want to set for here in Tennessee. But let's see, so we'd be looking maybe at June, or I think, anyway, we don't have to get into specifics, but I just want to put that out there. That's that would be a great topic for a roundtable, and we have a pretty considerable email list, and you know, people on our Facebook page as well. So we can talk about that.
Definitely.
As an option.
Thank you. I like that. One of the things that I had thought of that was, at least I thought maybe would be a bit out of the box, is on the 9th, and again, it'll be virtual like this, and hopefully I'll have Zoom mastered a little better than I did tonight, having a poetry and spoken word night. And, you know, anybody who wants to come listen, obviously as audience members, welcome. And then I've already had five people I know confirmed who are definitely wanting to present or perform. So it gives them a chance to share their story and allows people to kind of get the information in a different way besides a lecture or a workshop or, you know, a rally. So hopefully that'll go well. If you know of anybody, Yearland, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
If you know of any of your friends that would be interested in something like that, let them know. And, you know, like I said, anybody's welcome because it is virtual. So we'd love to have as many people as possible.
Yeah, sure.
Anyone else have any ideas?
Well, I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Listening to the video, I mean, I think that she's so right when she talks about that we have to seize the narrative and not always give up this ground to the media, to the authorities, to the police, to the judges and the courts and all the systems and institutions that, you know, basically they have free reign to develop the narrative about what sexual violence is and also what steps we can take to mitigate sexual violence, right? I mean, that's so important. And I remember, and some of y'all may remember too, you know, like I've seen our language and our narratives about sexual violence change over the years, and in really powerful, positive, awesome, amazing ways. And Greta gave us a little background at the beginning of our talk tonight, just the history, right? And we've had real successes, and then also we've had real failures. But then also listening to Yerlin talk, I'm like, consent is so important. And we weren't talking about consent. We definitely weren't talking about consent a decade ago.
No.
And I don't even know that we were talking about it 5 years ago. And now it is a driving component of how we develop new narratives, how we promote healthy sexuality, especially for boys and men. So I'm just, there's a lot going on in the world, obviously. And while we're all dealing with our coronavirus isolation and all the challenges that this is presenting to us, all of our work still has to continue. We still have to keep moving forward. We're so lucky that we have these platforms like Zoom to be able to connect. There's a quality about seeing each other's face, or if I need a break because I get too emotional or uncomfortable, I can turn the video off for a moment, right?
Right.
Kind of hide my face from you for a moment, but still be connected. I mean, like, there's a lot of things that we can do digitally that we haven't had to do because we're caught in our old ways. And the old ways is we mount a physical demonstration at some physical location that requires bodies. And I think you're so right, Greta, when you note that, especially on a topic like this, where there's so much social uncomfortableness and fear and anger and trauma and pain, that it does end up being the same voices and the same group of folks. And we have to figure ways to break out of that in order to get any kind of forward momentum, either in our local environments. It could be our local school, it could be our local community, our county, or our state, and even nationally. Like, this is something that we won't resolve tonight, but that all of us need to keep coming together and having this conversation. And I think that accepting the leadership of younger generation of folks who have nursed at social media since day one of their life, you know, they bring a different perspective to how social media and how the internet and how all this technology can be brought to bear on these issues that many of us have been working on for a long, long time.
Right.
And many of us are resistant to changing our ways because we know how to do the old time rally. Greta can throw a rally together, get speakers, musicians, sound, get this permit, get everything lined up in a day. Okay, but especially in this particular moment, those skills are not particularly useful to us. So
Right.
we have to incorporate folks who can bring to the table some kind of technological savvy and also just that newer mindset. I have children, you know, I have children, I have 3 sons. My youngest son is 16. And I mean, when I talk to him, I see how differently he sees the possibilities. And so, you know, often I'm in a gathering of women who are like, say, 25 to 60, you know, and totally miss out on the youth organizers. And this kind of relates, Greta, to your question about how do we diversify the work that we're doing? Because we have this heartfelt desire to be working in really racially diverse, economically diverse, bring all the diversity, right? We want women with disabilities who
Yes.
suffer, you know, great measure of sexual violence, more so than so-called able-bodied women. Disabled women are much more at risk, as are other demographics of women, especially our transgender sisters, right? So, you know, how do we diversify? I say one of the things that's really exciting that Yerlina, am I saying your name right? Yerlin is on the call, because not that we want her to be our token youth, but because we need her voice to nudge us along in thinking in different ways. And she needs our voice as well, right? I bring some measure of, I'm old. That's what I bring to the table. I'm old and I've been doing it for a while. But together, that's so powerful, right? To have that age diversity in a small conversation like this is really incredibly powerful. And but what I wanted to say, and then I'll stop talking, is in terms of diversity on our projects, whether they're local, statewide, or national projects, we have to get that diversity from the beginning. We can't design programs and then go looking for diversity.
Right.
That is not going to work, and that's how we've been doing it. And our results show us that that doesn't work. So if we want Black women, Latinx women, if we want disabled women, if we want transgender people who are transgender, if we want men who are victims of sexual violence, survivors of sexual violence, to be present in the, you know, to help us diversify, then we have to make these connections and do the work that's required to build relationships, because all organizing is based on relationships. And relationships don't develop just because we share ideals. Relationships develop because we put in the work to develop a meaningful relationship. And when we're organizing, that's even more critically important, because, you know, for example, tonight, and we've all got a lot going on, so much going on. But if we want to have a Sexual Assault Awareness Month activities that have a robust presence and voice from the Black community, then before we roll out these programs, we're going to be doing the work. And even if we can't, we're going to be doing the work to build those relationships so that they're at the table when we start strategizing.
Right.
They're at the table when we start building. They don't come in at level 2. You know, that's demeaning, actually, and it's demoralizing as a woman of color to be brought in after the fact, when other, usually white women, have already established the parameters that we're going to be working under. Or, you know, so, and I hear this a lot from women with disabilities, community organizers who have different kinds of disabilities. You know, they say, you know, don't just call me when you need someone to sign at your events.
Right.
That's not enough. I've had to learn that, you know, the hard way. When I organized with Women's March, and I organized with the Tennessee Anti-Racist Network. And when I first started doing anti-racist organizing, I wore myself out for a year. You know, and I wore a lot of Black women out for a year too, reaching out to them, to their organizations, and saying, come over here, we're trying to do something amazing and good and anti-racist, and come work with us, you know. And there was so much resistance there, and I didn't get it at all. I just totally could not understand why weren't they coming out to this event. And eventually, with enough time, this is the hard part about organizing, because it's relationship based, is you have to have a lot of patience. You have to demonstrate to people that you're trustworthy.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not just going to show up because you've said you're doing something that's cool.
Right.
You know, I know this because I've done a lot of cool stuff that people didn't show up to. And they're not going to show up. You know, now
I understand that part.
Yeah, right. I mean, anyone who's tried to do any degree of organizing, whether it's in a school or larger on a national stage, like this is something that, and if you're fortunate enough to have gone to school to learn this, and you know, you come into the game with a little bit ahead of my knowledge curve. But I don't have a degree in community organizing. I just fell into it, and I've been doing it for a while now. And I've learned a lot from a lot of amazing Black women and Latino women and disabled women and people who are transgender, etc. You know, but that's a process, and it's in its time. And developing the attitude that you have the time to stay in relationship with someone who's not doing exactly what you want them to do. They're not stepping up to help you organize. They're not showing up to your events. They're not sharing your graphics or your information about your events. You know, the question is why? What am I doing wrong? It's not necessarily that we're doing something wrong so much as it is that we need to do more. We keep doing more right. And the more that people see what we're doing and come to know us, and also it's really important, we can't just expect people to show up to our stuff. Even if it's a digital format, we have to show up to other people's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If we want relationships with the Black community, we have to show up to that community stuff.
Right.
And keep inviting them to come to our stuff. And at some point, you know, you're going to make a connection with someone or with an organization that's a real meaningful connection. And with time and you staying on that relationship, developing that relationship, an authentic relationship, then you'll find yourself doing events together like you and I do, Greta.
Oh.
You know, is that Doreen on the call?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Doreen.
She's staying incognito.
Well, she has her name on the screen.
I know.
But anyway, that's my thing is, I think that when we talk about, in relation to this video, you know, changing the narrative, we were talking about culture change, and that is a long-term project that humanity has been engaged in for a long time. Mm-hmm. So I don't go into this work or into a project thinking I'm going to solve for example, since we talked about consent, I don't think that I'm going to, on my own or with my Sexual Assault Awareness Month activities, that I'm going to accomplish culture change in my community. But with time, concerted effort, building relationships, being authentic myself, I know that I can have an impact in working with other people. That's the only way forward, is to find people you can work with, make connections where you can, either individually or organizationally, and work with people. We have to collaborate. And that's why, again, having your Lena on the phone or on the call tonight is really powerful to me personally. I'm like really grateful to have her on the call tonight.
Hi, Darlene. Hi,
I'm really
Greta.
grateful to
Hello,
be
everyone.
here too.
Hi, Doreen.
Hey, Doreen. And something that you mentioned, Darlene, that really spoke to me is something that when I was watching some videos today, it was Viola Davis speaking at Women's March back in, I believe it was 2017, and where she talked about how we kind of fall asleep when we think change is maybe happening, and that we're willing to work to create change if it doesn't cost us anything, but you never really create change or create something great if it doesn't cost you anything. And it doesn't have to be anything major. It can be just your time. And that goes to what you were talking about, Darlene, as far as, you know, we can't just go, hey, reach out to this group or that group and say, we really want to partner with you about this and everything, and just expect them to go, yeah, okay, we'll come help you. And we're not willing to go and just sit and listen at their events. Just be still and listen and soak it in and learn and let them teach us. And I think, that's something I have to remember. And I think in my organizing work over the last couple of years, that's something that we have to remember. We can't just expect, the people over here to come help us and us not be willing to go help them. And even if we are willing to go help them beforehand, help me, Darlene, the saying without me, there is, I think, and you probably know what I'm trying to say, but I can't help you without you is basically, I know I'm not getting that right, but if I can't take the time to listen and learn and understand as best as I can, then I can't help you. Because
and it's deeper. I think it's even deeper than that, because Black women don't need us to help them.
No.
If there's any demographic in this country that has consistently demonstrated their capacity to help themselves, it is Black women.
Amen to that. Yeah.
If anything, I think you're very right that we need to close our lips and listen, and soak in some knowledge. We talk about this a lot, about what does it mean to our movements to center the most marginalized voices and elevate those voices. What does that mean for those of us who aren't as marginalized? And there's that old saying about, help me out with this, about if you raise the lowest ship, everyone's ship rises.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. It might be an economic analogy, but the point is that when we center and listen to and learn from the wisdom of the most marginalized folks in our society, that we all benefit from that.
Yes.
When we have policies and legislations that promote the full humanity of LGBTQ plus community members, that benefits all of us, even if you're not LGBTQ plus, okay? So and that's really, it's kind of delicate and hard because, for example, Women's March, Tennessee, and Silent No Longer, we need to do the work that we're called to do.
Right.
Okay. We need to do the work that we're called to do, while at the same time we're building this plane while it's flying, because many of us are newer to collaborative project building, right? So a lot of us don't know how to do it. We're learning. We're in this constant state of learning and also relearning, because a lot of times we learn things the wrong way.
Right.
So yeah, I forget my train of thought there, but
that's because we're in our 50s.
It's true.
We could
don't get old.
Her mother.
Don't get old.
That's okay.
Don't say that.
No, I'm totally joking, because this is the best time of my life in terms of the organizing work, for one thing. Greta, I think in your program tonight you were going to have us share a picture or something.
Yes, we did. Yes. Do you want to do that, please?
I brought a picture to share.
Yes, we want to. Doreen, did you bring a picture to share?
No.
Okay, that's all right. That's fine.
But I don't know if you can. Okay, this picture is so old, it only exists in print. There is no digital version, okay? But let's see if I can make you where you can kind of see it. And the picture is, okay, so you can't see it really good. Dang it. I wish you could see it better. Let me see. But briefly, this is a picture of my sister and myself. Mm-hmm. I can't figure out how to share it on here. I took a picture of it.
could see, I mean, I don't know about everybody else. I could see it.
Okay, so that picture was taken at a Take Back the Night rally in 1999.
Okay.
And in 1999, and that's like probably before Yerlene was born. I don't know, but I'm just assuming. Okay, so back in 1999, this was already old. Take Back the Night was out. It was already, it was dead basically. But you know, some of us, we couldn't let it go. Take Back the Night morphed into National Night Out, which is a more general anti-violence program. It's not specific to sexual violence.
Right, it's domestic and sexual. And
yeah, but I wanted to share it just to say, and I'm so glad there was a young person on the call, because that's what I was hoping, was that if there are any young people on the call, you know, it's like in the course of your lifetime, you're going to see so much progress and so much change because you're doing the work. It's not going to happen by magic. It happens because people do the work, just regular everyday people like us. So that was my picture I wanted to share, just because I love the fact that, knowing that, back to my age, you know, like I'm old enough to have seen different manifestations of women's movements for justice, and it's really super cool, you know.
I remember Take Back the Night. It was 2002 when I was with the YW, Domestic Violence Center, and we participated in the one over at Vanderbilt. But it was getting smaller, and it had morphed into more, or as both domestic and sexual violence. It was basically a gender violence, not just sexual assault. But yeah, you don't hear much about it anymore. Or the Clothesline Project much anymore.
That's true.
You just don't hear about it much anymore. Anybody else have any ideas?
Greta, I sent you a message. Did you get that?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that. I want to get with you later about that. She sent some.
You can share it if you want.
That's all right. Cool. Let me scroll down so that I can. Of
course, I know this time with the virus going on, that's probably not likely this, you know, this season, but it's something that I've done in the past.
What she wrote me was, I've worked in the past with youth camps centered around informing them about safe body and safe mind subjects centered on urban and rural youth. I would like to see this implemented in the future with the assistance of our sister groups. And honestly, with what's going on now, it may be easier, which I know sounds odd, but considering there's a lot of youth at home wanting to do anything but continue to stare at the same four walls, and maybe this would be the time to be able to say, hey, we've got this, reach out to those same groups and do something similar to this to reach them, because they're not going to school, they're not going out and playing baseball or basketball, you know, they're not going swimming or hiking or anything like that, they're stuck at home. So maybe that's something that we can consider trying to do.
What was their suggestion? What was the suggestion?
It's just something that I have done myself, truly by myself. I don't know why I always do these things by myself, but I do. For like 2-3 years through my church, I would get like 3 cabins at Edgar Evans State Park, and I would reach out to the youth, mostly, you know, like during the summer, and you know, a lot of children's families, they don't have a lot of money to go on vacations and such, and so I would pretty much tailor to those children, and then I would have like 3-day weekend. Usually it was like Memorial Day weekend, and I'd get them together, and I would have different, like someone from the health department to come to talk to them, because they have, well, they did then, I haven't done this in a long time. They had different um, literature for sexual abuse safety and drug safety, and I just find for myself that, and it might be some of y'all too, but sexual abuse happens a lot to children. And if we don't tell them now that they can say no, what, who they could talk to, what is not, what can I say, what is not allowed. They don't have to put up with someone touching their body or giving them something that they don't want to have. So I just find that my goal in my life has been to reach out to the children. I want to get to those children before somebody else gets to them. So I found the way to do that is by having a fun activity, which that would be at the park. And, they'd have other activities that you would have at the park, pontoon, hiking, all that such. But then you would give them that information. And many of them now are grown, have kids of their own, but they remember that. They remember that time. And some of the parents that, again, it was through a church, which is probably why I did it by myself, because a lot of the parents did not want to bring their children to this. They didn't want their children to know anything about drugs or how, about sex. And unfortunately, a lot of those children grew up doing this very same things that, I was talking to them about, not saying, and I didn't even teach about sex was wrong or right. I just said, you have a right to make the decision of what you want for your own self. And that was, it really wasn't the whole 3 days. It was like probably 10 minutes a day. We'd have a little chit chat, and the rest was just fun. But I just know that for me, had somebody told me as a young person what was happening, I could have gone to someone, what I'm talking about, what I'm trying to say. That's why I keep myself on mute, because I can't put my words together. But you know what I'm trying to say.
You sound great to me.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think that's really true, that we all understand that to get the kind of deep and sustainable change that we're looking for, the focus has to be basically children, and that means the environment that those children are in, including their parents and their families. So I do understand what you're getting at, Doreen, like the primacy of developing programs and finding different ways to support that kind of culture change work, where folks are working directly with children, with youth. And also, I would say, like, one of the most important things that I think that anyone who is an activist or an organizer around sexual violence, no matter the identity of the victims, is to understand that the next stages of the evolution of our movements for justice around these issues, really, like all movements, rely on the youth. So it's so important that we find that organizations and individuals find youth and youth groups and organizations that serve a youth population to mentor, to support, to help find resources. And I would say to Yerleen, please let's stay connected after this call. You can communicate with the page because I'm in contact with Greta all the time. But like that is at the heart of the kind of culture change that we know we need and we deserve. But it's hard for a lot of older people to give up the reins of leadership and the reins of power. You know, like it's very limited power, but when you're in charge of your organization, that's some measure of power that you've got, right? But like for myself, I'm always looking for and reaching out and trying to find young people who are motivated and interested in these issues and who are trying in their own communities or schools or wherever to affect some kind of change, to lay the groundwork for the future in their school, in their town, right? And I think for women of my age, like that is the single most important thing that we can do to have a lasting impact, is to find youth who are doing the work and support them, whether that's financially or with other resources. And that's something, Greta, that our organizations, we have to get better at, because right now we're resource poor. So if to accomplish the work that we envision, we have to wrap our heads around, you know, a budget and fundraising and things like that.
You said it better than I did.
No, I didn't.
Honestly, though, I think that would help a lot. Like fundraising, that's what pretty much helped us in the community.
Yeah.
And we also, as a peer advocate, we get paid through the grant fund, the government, to provide resources for other students. So I think that would be a great start.
Yeah.
I would love to have a youth organization. I'm not putting it in line with the same concept, but like Girl Scouts, except for what we're talking about, you know, to, like you said, darling, to empower the youth. Wouldn't that be awesome? I always think so big. I'm sorry. But, you know, I just think that would be awesome just to have is there such a thing as that? Is there any type of organization like that for young women?
There is Girl Up.
Girl Luck?
It's an organization that my school, like, you know how school have their own clubs and stuff like that? There's Girl LGBTQ club, us as peer advocates with the sexual assault center. And yeah, we're just like,
well, that's great. We need to know how to support you then. You've got it going on. So if y'all have got it going on there, you need to tell us how we can help you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We are trying to collaborate. So we can probably do something like that. And there's this consent summit coming up as well. And I will share it to all of you.
Okay.
That y'all can join in. There's a meeting every week, I believe, because we don't know the exact date virtually for the event, but I'll let you know.
Well, you know, taking a sentence from Darling, we're old birds. So sometimes old birds don't fit in with the young. I don't know if you know what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I mean, we want to support you. We don't want to be in charge. We want to support you since you've got it. You know, y'all are already set up and organized. So you just tell us what we can do to help you.
But in going, we can maybe help, again, going and just keeping our mouth shut.
Yeah.
And just watching and learning so that the old dogs can maybe learn new tricks by watching them.
Well, you know, there's it's so important to organize in as diverse an environment as possible, because I know things that you don't know, and you know things that I don't know. And that's because we have different identities and different life experiences. And how do we build a robust, well-rounded movement around these issues? By having that diversity and having all those voices represented, and developing within ourselves and our groups the capacity to listen.
Right.
That's true.
Yearlin, one thing I wanted to ask is, I know, I'm guessing that the peer group is with other high school students. Is that correct? You're a peer advocate. Is it just within the high school, or is it also junior high and lower levels, or?
So the peer advocate group is within the city, and since there's only one public high school in my city, unfortunately there's not, like, it's not across the Virginia state, but we are hoping to at least spread more awareness and create new groups across Virginia, since like this is the first year that the school that I'm in and the city within has done this. So we're also still learning ways to provide as a youth group. And it was really hard in the beginning, but we're still learning and we have gotten better.
Good.
Excuse me, what part of Virginia are you in?
Alexandria.
Okay.
Right near DC.
Right. Well,
yeah.
She may not know, but my little tiny little group, we're tiny, but we're big in battle, and I have different people in different states. So I have someone out there that is in my group. If we need a contact out there to assist you, she may be able to do that.
That'd be awesome.
And the reason I was asking about, what age groups you work with is one of the things that I've thought just personally is, in order for us to achieve the ultimate goal of, ending sexual violence, it's not going to be rallies. It's not going to be even necessarily teenagers or college students or old birds like us. It's going to be children. And I mean, children, kindergarten, pre-K, elementary school. If we can get in and teach them simple stuff, and this may be too simplistic. I mean, I'm not, a early childhood teacher or anything like that, but something like, you're a boy and you're a girl and y'all may look different in some ways, but you're both still strong. You're both still smart. You're both still, whatever. You can do anything, and just planting that seed at a very early age. And if it continues to be reinforced through 12 years of school, then it's going to grow and thrive, hopefully. And then they teach their children. And after a couple of generations, we wouldn't have this problem, but there seems to be such a resistance. I know in Tennessee, they have developed sexual assault curriculum for high school, middle school, and elementary school, but the teachers aren't teaching it because of there's laws that kind of contradict that. Well, are we going to get sued because we can't mention, they can't do like sex education, and some things they can't do, and they're afraid that, they're going to get fired. And it just seems like such an uphill battle. And because of contradicting legislation that no one seems to want to do anything about, we're allowing our children to get hurt. They don't know, like you were saying, Doreen, they're not necessarily getting the good touch, bad touch, and who you can tell and things like that at home. So,
or church,
or in school, and just basic, respect you know, doesn't matter, male, female, black, white, green, yellow, we're all people and we should all be, you know, we can all have the same abilities. And I think I'm
I
just
agree.
rambling now because I lost my train of thought of where I was going
Well,
with.
you said we need to reach them young, and that's true.
Yes.
And even about touching, you know, my little cousin, he is cute as anything in this world. He's 3 years old, but he has never wanted me to touch him. He has never wanted me to hug him or touch him, and I don't. I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't, but I do. I respect that, even to let little ones know that you don't feel comfortable with someone touching you, you don't have to have them touch you.
Right.
I mean, I actually think that, considering Greta and Doreen's comments, in my mind is the thought that, you know, like Doreen's nephew who doesn't want anyone to hug him. There are so many parents and guardians who still force children to hug and still force children to give their grandfather a kiss, even though the child is clearly saying no, they don't want to do this, right? And, you know, when we talk about reaching children, that's complicated by the fact that children are not autonomous beings. They are under the control and authority of parental units.
Sure.
And to reach a child, we have to go through the parents. And that puts the thought in my mind that it would be really helpful to teach more parents, and grandparents for that matter, the principles of consent, because they, especially women, transmit these values, right, to their families, to their children and their grandchildren. So even though I'm advocating that youth are, I'm saying straightforwardly, youth are the leading edge of the next phase, the evolution of this movement. At the same time, there is a fundamental and, you know, role for everyone, and especially for mothers and grandmothers, because we still live in a world where women provide the majority of care, physical care, emotional care for their families, their children, and, you know, their elderly parents as well. So, you know, when I think about our organizations, who do we have access to have an impact with? Like Yerline in her school, who she has access to have an impact with are her peers, right? Other high school students. Who I have access to have an impact with are women who look like me. They're already mothers. They may even have grown children or younger children, or they're already grandparents, but they do not have the language or the narrative of consent. So they are unable to transmit that narrative and help us change culture. We have to train women my age as well as children. And so since I don't have access to a lot of children, I would be more inclined to focus, you know, on the communities and the folks that I do have access to. And maybe it could develop into a scenario where, like Doreen, you're talking kind of like a retreat, a consent retreat. Sounds so fun, you know, and powerful, but maybe not just for children, like maybe families. Because when we're talking about changing culture, we can't do that just through children. So we have them in a program for an hour or two a week. That's nothing compared to, you know, the totality of their time. So,
well, I agree with that, because it's a different world now, and there would need to be adults. You know, it was just me and another or two females with all these people's children, and I don't think a lot of parents would allow that now. So, but I do think that's a great idea, to educate the adults as well as the children at the same time. It's a great idea.
And maybe schools who had programs or are developing programs like the peer advocates that Elaine was talking about, is if the school's going to have that, then have a partnering organization that includes, you know, the parents. You know, you have the PTA and everything, but have something that's maybe a parent advocacy or a parent advocate or something. Where if their children does disclose that they've been sexually assaulted, you know, they kind of know what to expect and how to deal with it, and they have people they can go to talk about it, because it's going to be, I would imagine, I don't have children, but I can only imagine how traumatic that would be trying to deal with it. So as programs like this grow, maybe, you know, if we have the opportunity to participate in suggestions, is say, why don't you have two groups, one for the students and one for the parents? And they could also do, like you're talking about, Darlene, also talk to them about the importance of respecting their boundaries. You know, if they don't want to do something, don't physically make them do it.
And that's hard for people here in the South.
Oh gosh,
Very hard. Very hard. I mean, respecting parental authority is akin to, for religious people, you know, respecting God. So it's a hard mountain to climb.
Bless their heart.
But yeah, but I think we're all pointing towards the same fact, which is to achieve cultural change, we have to have lots of different kinds of people working in lots of different kinds of environments and communities. And that's how we develop a mass movement, which is what the consent movement has really already accomplished. Again, you know, just a few years ago, we were not talking about consent. We were not using this language. So even the statistics are still as horrifying as they were in 1970, as they were in 1999 when I went back to that Take Back the March rally. But there have also been real changes. You know, when I got married, a husband, there was no such thing as marital rape.
Right. Yeah. The spousal exclusion, they didn't finally get that changed till mid 2000s. I don't remember but we were still working on that when I was with the coalition in 2003. We couldn't get that passed because of the fiscal note. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Darlene.
No, you're good. Yeah, I mean, I think also, you know, there are a lot of macro thinkers on this call, and we need to balance our efforts with folks who bring some micro expertise, like the peer advocacy program at Yearling School. Okay, you know, that is when she comes to a conversation, and maybe in the future we can have this come in and just talk to us for 30 minutes about the program. You know, how it's set up,
That's a good
how it's
idea.
designed, what the goals of the program are, you know, what its structure looks like. Just talk about that. I think that that's really helpful, because we maybe can transform that into a structure that would work for us, getting at the same things, you know, which is promoting, I mean, the basic work of the peer advocate is to be a support and an advocate for their community member that they're assigned to help or represent. Is that right, Yearling? So yeah. I think a lot of schools have these peer programs, and I think some are probably more robust than others. And in Tennessee, I'm actually not, I have no idea how robust that type of program is in our public schools. I don't know.
I don't think it is very much.
I mean, so we've already identified something really key that someone on this call could potentially come back and just give us a little lesson on what their peer program looks like. And I would be really interested in seeing that or hearing that. You could invite one of your coworkers to join you, maybe.
Yeah, we would love to learn from you.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I'll make her to ask, and maybe we could. What day would you all like to video chat again? Or does it have to be like next week?
I'm pretty flexible at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I'm stuck. I'm home.
I'm sheltered in until the 25th. I'm gonna go. I'm going. I'm praying about it, but I'm thinking about becoming a foster provider
Oh,
for
really?
children.
Wow.
So I'll be going to classes.
After the 25th?
Yeah, on the 25th on
Okay.
Saturdays.
Yeah, so maybe get with your coworkers at your peer program and see if y'all could cook something up for us in the next, I don't know, 10 days. Would that work for you, Greta?
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be anything formal. Just come and talk to us about your program, you know?
Yeah, sure. We're going to discuss a date, and I can let you know, as well as the consent summit information.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And I put our email in there, so you can either post it on Silent No Longer or email, whatever's easiest for you is great.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
And then Greta, one of your earlier questions this evening, Greta, you were saying, you know, what are some ideas of things that we could do to have a more robust online presence?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think we just need to do some online local, and we can expand as our coalition grows. But just do some local social media campaigns using some cool graphics and well thought out and appropriately written, you know, verbiage to go with the graphics. I mean, we could think about, there's a lot of other things that we could think about doing, but that'd be something that we could roll out pretty immediately. We just need some folks who can churn out some graphics for us for this month, and choose some hashtags to share.
Now, I did a couple of them for, I don't know, on the event page, there's...
I noticed that. You're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. I don't know about that, but thank you. There's at least 4, if not, I think there's 4, maybe 5 social media flash mobs where here's a graphic, you know, and they're sized for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, and LinkedIn, and Pinterest even. So where you can just kind of spam social media on a particular day with that message. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think I saw those, and I was thinking that I like the color of the colors in these graphics, of course, because like that greeny mint color is like my favorite color. But maybe we could think about some graphics that are a little edgier.
Oh, I'm happy to do that.
I
like edgy. I tried to keep it calm.
If I can jump in for a second, and veer off just slightly. I think I talked with you, Greta and Darlene. We had to cancel the No More Stolen Children event twice now, which is very upsetting to me. But Barbara Walker and myself and Lucinda Sharp, we're still working on something, and it's kind of similar to what you're doing, Greta. We were just thinking about having different groups have their profile on it. We're trying to figure out what type of profile picture we want and graphics, and then have our adjoining groups choose one day together, and then everybody use that profile picture to remember the children that are still in detention. That is just beyond stressful to me. But I feel like
can I interject here, Doreen?
Yes.
And note that those children are at high risk, as are any children that are in any kind of detention are at greater risk than other children for sexual violence.
Yes.
So there's a direct tie in there to.
We had planned the 25th, to be at the Capitol, but because of this all going on, we've had to change. But it would be easier with a just to do it online for right now. But tomorrow, Barbara's supposed to call me, and her son does videos and things. And you were talking about something edgier. She was trying to think. He makes movies and stuff some kind of way. And she was trying to get him to incorporate pictures of where you would see, well, she could explain it better anyway, edgier pictures. But
Yeah.
so that's something, is what I'm trying to say is, Greta, I don't know how to do what you do. And Darlene, I don't know how to do what you do. And but when we talk tomorrow morning, Barbara and I will be calling y'all because I may need y'all's social media help.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think also, Greta, that we incorporate like on the different platforms some kind of like on Facebook, it's what do they call it? A frame for your profile picture.
Yeah.
I guess you can do the same thing on Instagram, right? Anyway, point is to use all the little bells and whistles that these different platforms provide for you to push out messages. And then going further, Greta, if we could get Silent set up to run ads. I mean, we can run ads through Women's March as well. But if we want to increase awareness with some really great, kick-ass graphics, we might want to think about, we can spend just a couple dollars and run some ads.
Okay. I'm down with that. Also, Darlene, you said something about you wanted to, now actually Barbara wasn't going to be doing the profile picture for what I was talking about. I think it was just more of like an announcement type page or something, but I know you said you had some ideas. So if you do, we'd be willing to listen and have the help.
Yeah. Doreen, y'all could, if you wanted to, you can loop me into your conversation at some point tomorrow whenever you guys talk.
Okay.
Just loop me in and I'll jump on.
Okay. Thank you.
But when I say edgier, I'm just noting that what is powerful to me may not be powerful to an 18-year-old. Or what speaks to, my family, that might not be what speaks to a different kind of family. So the more graphics and imagery that we can get, that diverse imagery will give us a more diverse audience.
Barbara was talking, I do know one thing she said something about her vision of children playing on a playground and then having her son kind of slowly fade them out. That was one vision she had. So I don't know if that was something along what you were thinking, or because I'm burnt out on ideas. I just don't have any.
I mean, so we know that we can do more remote activities, strategy, developing projects or campaigns together using Zoom or something like that. We can do social media campaigns. We can run ads. Something that we don't ever talk about anymore is snail mail. But right now actually might be a good time to do a snail mail campaign with a mailing list, which we have a mailing list that we can use, which is, I mean, Greta, Silent could use the Women's March mailing list.
Okay.
We could think about that. Like, work up a budget. What would it take for us to send out 500 postcards? And we could target those postcards to like our key people. So in addition to raising awareness about April being Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we could also give them a way to jump into the work. Direct them to a phone number or a website. I don't know.
I still have some of those different subjects, but I still have some of those postcards. If you need any for children to put down their, contact info and ICE cards, what to do.
I just sent a couple hundred of those cards to Albuquerque.
Well, I still have plenty if y'all need any. I don't think they know what I'm talking about. I had my little group, Dream Network. We had some personal cards made up in Spanish and in English, informing persons of their rights in case ICE, tries to accost them. And also we had postcards made up, and on one side it's just like, I think it was a little puppy dog or something for the children to color, but my idea was for them to like maybe keep it in their backpack, because as you remember when they had all those raids that the children, people didn't know who the children belonged to. There was no, they were homeless. And so I thought to put, and I think some other groups have done so as well, is to put, just their name and, a safe contact that someone could be notified of where the child is, and even their doctor, if they have a medical problem, stuff like that. That's something that someone would need to know about the child.
Mm-hmm.
So I have plenty of those. If anyone, any group or anyone wants me to send some out, I can.
Okay. Maybe put that offer on the page or in the event page or something.
Okay.
That's
sorry, I was just going to say, please, you're absolutely more than welcome to stay. But if we're talking about more our stuff and you're not interested, you're not going to upset us if you decide to leave. So I didn't want you to feel obligated, but please stay if you're wanting to continue.
I have one more comment before anyone takes off, though, and then I can leave too if y'all want me to, which is when we talk about moving our moving forward our ideal of a world without sexual violence, we need to start at home, literally at home, in our own groups, in our own organizations, even in our own families. If you got a cool family like I do, like all of our groups and our organizations should have sexual harassment policies that address consent. Mm-hmm. It should be written out. Even all volunteer groups like Power Together, we need written policy that that gives us some parameters of expectations that we have for volunteers, for participants, right? And that's like the kind of housekeeping that a lot of times our grassroots movements aren't really great at, because we attract a lot of macro thinkers who we generate awesome ideas, but we lose it when it's time to get down into the details. So I would suggest that if you're in an organization or a group that does not have a written sexual harassment and consent policy, that you spend some time, get maybe a document. I have more than one for different groups that I belong to. I'd be happy to share that with anybody, or develop your own. And there's so much stuff that you can Google and find. And but that's like foundational stuff. Like, we have to make sure our own house is in order.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay.
Yeah, so I would say that that's really important. I think it's important anyway.
Silent no longer has a code of conduct that addresses specific things, but it's not, we don't have a separate sexual harassment policy. But I agree with you. It certainly
it's-
wouldn't hurt to
I
have.
think, yeah, I think it's a question that we ask all of our organizations that we belong to, especially if we're dues paying members or, you know, like we're officially a part of a group, like just, you know, where can I find our group's sexual harassment policy?
Yeah.
Because a lot of groups don't have it, even though we spend a lot of time talking about this stuff.
Right.
It's true.
And I put on a different subject. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's okay. You can finish off. I just wanted to show a video real quick.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I posted. Y'all were talking about edgier, and I don't know if this is the style you were talking about. I posted a link in there of a website Lisa and I are playing around with for a podcast that we're going to do. I don't know whether that's the type of style or whether you're wanting something more edgier.
Let's see.
I also think something that's really important, and we all know this, that the content that gets the best engagement is a story.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can build narratives that go with our graphics campaign, you know, like that's really powerful. Or to have, maybe this could be a thing, Greta, like work up this fits right into Truth Empowered, this link you just shared with us about the podcast, you know, like to have a series of social media campaign that features, you know, regular everyday people. They're not the presidents of organizations, or they're not activists even, maybe, but they have a voice, they have something to say about this issue. And actually, might not even need graphics. Maybe we just need pictures of real human beings with their story with a hashtag, and the hashtag would link it all together.
I like the website.
Yeah, I love the way it looks.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I wish you know those 4 females, I wish they had that like in stickers.
And a
That would look
person of
pretty
color.
nice. Yeah.
Now
Greta, can you order us some stickers? I like that too.
Now, I mean, I can send. Yeah, I mean, I did the graphics, so I mean, I can send y'all the graphic, and then, you know, I don't know what kind of. I'm sure I know there are places out there that can do. Well, actually, I could do that. And get some. Yeah, that's not a problem. Did you say you want different colors than what they are?
A person of color.
Well, the one.
I see one.
Yeah, the one below the Muslim woman, but I don't know whether that because it's all white background and then the different colors, that it doesn't maybe show through as well.
Actually, I think giving away a sticker, if we had an ad that was like designed to grow our movement, in other words, we want folks to sign up to join us, right? Like giving away a sticker might be, I'm not sure about this cost-wise, we'd have to budget it out, but a sticker would probably get a lot of good responses. People do love stickers.
Yeah, especially like representing women of color and anyone, that I think that would look pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people, especially my age, would even love to get.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
But you're saying change the colors that they are now and actually have it now. Am I hearing you right?
I didn't hear what you said.
Are you saying change the color? You know how it's just different colors in it, and it doesn't necessarily represent a specific black, brown,
I
yellow,
would like
white.
to know that there was a person of color and I could see the person of color.
Understood.
Maybe take out some of the pastels and just make them look
Okay.
different. And this is so silly, but let's make up on one or two of them. They
Less
all look
lipstick
so
and
prissy.
eyelashes. Okay. That's not a problem. I can do that.
That's not anything major. That was just my personal. You know, we all don't look that way. They look so made up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So perfect, like Barbie doll.
Well, the unfortunate part about my graphic design ability is if I can find Creative Commons or, free clip art,
Uh-huh.
and I have the computer programs to do it, I can do this. But if
Okay.
if I can't find that, then
Well, that's okay.
I
That's not
can't
important.
draw a stick person. So,
Maybe,
I mean,
maybe this is an opportunity for us to reach out to the community and say, we're having, I don't know, maybe you could say it's a contest or something. Submit sticker ideas here. We're going to choose some stickers, and we'll, I don't know how we support the artists, but figure that out. But to use our idea also as a way to engage that creative community, our creators.
yeah.
And since I'm not an artist, so
That's a
I have
good
zero to
idea.
contribute with that. But we could roll out something where, like, where we solicit artists to submit a design to us.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
I don't
some
know.
of the youth artists too.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be great. That'd be ideal. That would be
that.
ideal.
I like that
And
a
also
lot.
that might give us some ideas about, like, the different types of imagery that we might want to use with different demographics, Like, we can have an ad that targets, 16 to 25-year-old women, but it will be a waste of money if it isn't designed well.
Right.
So, I don't know. That's another idea. I don't know if that's something we could roll out, like, pretty much in the next few days, so that we could get some submissions before the end of the month, so that at the end of the month we could share with everyone the designs and say, sign up here to get your sticker.
Yeah, I can work on that tonight.
Greta, you're a miracle worker. When you have your ideas, you just like put them out there. Do you go to sleep?
Sometimes. I'm at the age now where I do the split shift sleeping. I'll work all day, I'll have dinner, I may work some more or watch a little bit of television, and then I'll fall asleep for about a 3-hour, 4-hour nap, and then I'm up for about 3 hours, and then I fall asleep again. So I get my 8 hours, but it's not all in a row. It's
Y'all, how about a zine?
a what?
A zine.
A zine?
A zine, a magazine, a zine.
An
You know what I'm talking
online
about?
zine?
Oh.
And we can actually print some.
If you're willing to help with
I'll think about
printing
this.
cost, yeah, I mean, that's definitely doable.
I think that we budget out a couple of ideas, and I will take on the budget needs of figuring it out. And we can seed, Greta, we can use Women's March, some Women's March funds to seed some of this.
Okay.
And then I can do a little fundraising around it too, once we figure out what we actually need. It would be awesome to be able to support Yearland's Consent Summit.
Yes.
In some way like that,
Ooh.
Even if it was just providing really cool stickers to give to everyone who comes, but maybe we could actually, like, be a sponsor or something. Who knows?
That would be cool.
It would be cool.
And things that I'm saying, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to be right back. The dog's throwing a fit because I won't let him in from outside. So pardon me one moment, please.
Okay.
That's fine. I'm being attacked by a chihuahua right now.
Do you have pets, Yearlin?
Yeah, I have a small dog. She's like a mixture of Shih Tzu and I forgot the other one. She just looks more of a Shih Tzu.
I don't
So
have
what
any dogs. I
I'm
had
sorry.
a cat, but she died last fall.
I know. You want a dog?
No,
I
but
have 3.
my son does though.
Well, hey.
I want to get him a dog, I really do, but I'm afraid that he's going to move away and go to school, and I would be left with a dog.
Is he a senior this year?
Well, okay, but no, he's a junior.
Oh,
You know, we home educate, so his grade
I
level is
forgot.
kind of wacky. But yeah, you bet, Greta.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry about that. He was throwing an absolute fit. Along with the zine idea and the stickers, maybe come up with some different graphics. I know it's becoming more and more popular with adult coloring pages or coloring books where they can kind of do them and make their own posters. Maybe we could roll out something like that too. I don't know. Yearlin, you
That's a
probably,
neat idea. I hadn't thought about that. I like that, kind of like that idea. You're right. There's like a whole segment of people, grown adults, who color,
Mhm.
who do those complicated coloring books. I've never gotten into it myself, but if you're gonna color, you might as well have it be our topic.
Exactly.
Or something
It's
empowering.
peaceful.
Yeah.
Is it?
It is.
I don't like coloring inside the lines. I'm outside of line type person.
That's fine. No,
You're a rebel, Doreen.
I
no
am.
judgment. No judgment.
Well, I'm also an old bird, so I'm going to go to bed. But I just love y'all, and thank you for including me. And thank you, Greta, for organizing it. And so nice to meet you. And the young lady, I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Yearlin.
Miss Yearlin.
Yeah.
And good to see you,
Thank you.
Darlene. And now how do I link up with you tomorrow? Just
loop me in Messenger or send me a text message.
okay. All right.
I'll
Well,
be
she said she was going to call
here.
around 10. So
Okay.
all right. Well, good night to y'all. God bless.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I'm probably going to call it a night too, ladies.
Yeah, I will get
Yeah.
off here and let you guys go, but I do want to say what a great conversation. I really appreciate it.
Glad you were able to make it. Very glad. I think it's been very productive.
Yeah,
Yeah, same here. Thanks.
Lots to follow up on.
Yes. And digital hug.
Digital
Digital hug.
Yeah.
Social distancing thing. It was so nice to meet you, Yearlin, very much. And I'm looking forward to partnering with you and learning from you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
Thank you.
looking
It
for
was
your
great.
post.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me in and listening and just, trying to spread awareness and have the same ideas as I do with trying to spread all of this going on, especially since there's like a lot of people just look this as normal. And I want to as well teach younger children because I myself haven't had experienced something as a child before. So I'm just glad that we all got to talk, and I've learned a lot, like especially like from a different state. And I just hope to see y'all soon.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, for
I'll talk to
sure.
my coworker. I'll talk to my coworkers so we can also share some information.
Yes, I would
And
love to get that
I'll
set up.
also, as well as the consent summit, because that is something that not even myself knew about when I was younger as well. So
Yep.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cool.
Good
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right. See y'all next time then. I'll look for your posts on the page.
Yes, ma'am. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Take care. Stay isolated.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Love you, Greta.
Love you. Bye-bye.